Capricorn, welcome back for your star sign and what I see coming through for you, as well as the transits up and coming this month, in the month of May 2023. Now, we're going to jump straight into it, give you an overview, then dive straight into your zodiac sign in each area of life and how I see the best way to navigate through and what possibly could be cropping up. Now, as we do move into the month, we have two moons, one in which is going to be an eclipse, and that is because eclipses come in sets. On the 5th of May 2023, we have the full moon in Scorpio, which is going to be a lunar eclipse. It's at 15 degrees. The next is going to be on the 19th. It is going to be a new moon in Taurus at 28 degrees, which is technically the critical degree. So there can be some big things in those Taurian energies for all of us collectively, as well as you. Now, as we do enter the month leading up to the first eclipse, we do have Pluto retrograding in the house of Aquarius, which is the first time in this zodiac sign that it is retrograding. It is a 20-year cycle, so we're having the introduction to this year, but it will be popping back into Capricorn later. This is linked to your second house, so during its retrograde, you can be really reflecting upon your wealth, your net worth, your professional resources, self-esteem, and diet. Mercury still is going to be in retrograde, which can be kicking up some stink for us, but nevertheless, it does move quickly. So lots of information, ironing the creases out, trying to be patient during this time. And if you can delay signing of any contracts or buying of any technology during its transit, wait till after the 15th for those critical situations, but I will link it to different areas of your life. I do particularly see as well, these themes of Taurus are going to be quite bold this month. So it's almost like the month is going to be snipped into two sections. One is the retrogrades and the introduction of new cycles. The next will be the easing out of it, the deeper comprehension, and the movement forward in a very Jupiter-style energy. Jupiter is exiting stage of Aries, and we have had some time to develop that domain. It's going to come in handy a little bit later as we do have the nodes shift. Jupiter will be entering the house of Taurus on the 16th of May. So Mercury goes direct, bang, Jupiter enters the house, baby. So this is going to be one very interesting month. Venus currently is in the house of Gemini. Now, how Venus can play out in the house of Gemini can be that we need to be quite independent. We will be more attracted to the intellectual side of things, the Mercury side of things. Mercury, however, in the mix is currently retrograde. So cross wires are possible in love during the month of May until it moves direct. So try to not personalize things. Really getting that cross wires can occur and trying to not get up in our head. So there can be some frustration. We also can be multitasking. We may want some freedom and autonomy. So inside of romantic connections and liaisons, we do need to be a little bit more flexible, but I will link those to your zodiac sign and express how that can be showing up for you. I also feel during this time, those of you that are single can be having blasts of the past coming back, and that's for everyone collectively. Themes of the past, values coming up for review, looking at our wellness and our diet. I think a lot of us are going to be really reflecting upon how to really look after ourselves with stress. Later, we are having Venus move into the house of Cancer, which can be quite nice. It can be a situation where we feel more understanding and nurturing, where we're really enjoying our home domain and maybe our personal creature comforts. But it's also looking to, okay, what are those value systems? What are the necessities? Around this time, I would predict that we do tend to find that there is, socialization can be more on the home front. It can be barbecues, communicating with those nearest and dearest with us, and really having some deeper empathy for people individually, the ones that we call directly our tribe. Mars currently is sitting in the house of Cancer, which is deemed in its detriment. Previously, it was sitting in Gemini. It was there for quite a long transit, about 7 months from August last year. Then it transited into the house of Cancer. So it is going to be sitting in this placement until the 20th. We can be very hot and cold with this. Mars is our vitality. It's our movement. We can feel a little bit sluggish, over emotional, going from being very neutral to very aggressive. It can be giving us a bit of topsy-turvy kind of frequency. Like I said, it is deemed as in its detriment, but we really did need that break from the placement of Gemini. It is transitioning over to the house of Leo, which can be more heart-centered. It can be bold. We can have more strong intellectual opinions. There can be situations in the collective to do with I wouldn't say gurus, I would say leadership roles. So where can we be a leader? Where can we find our own personal identity and stand for a truth of who we directly are? So I definitely see that being a very interesting one. Let's look at your star signs. Grab a cuppa, sit back and relax, and we're jumping into the Moonology and your relationship sector. Talk about an interesting time to enter the month, Capricorn. When I was blogging your Zodiac sign online, we do have additional updates that are via the website. So come through and read that. It's going to be a bit more tips. It's going to go into a little bit more deeply. The video, the podcast, and the blog will all be there together. So you get a bit of variety depending on how you absorb information. As a disclaimer. Okay, so with this eclipse that we're moving into, as we do move into the first week of the month, Pluto, as mentioned, is retrograde. Also, in typical Scorpionic style, lots of secrets can be coming to the forefront. This is one prediction. Lots of like wounds, revelations, passion. And as we reach this eclipse, you have two subject matters going on, your 2nd and your 11th house. Be really cautious around friendship groups. You also could change status in your career. You may be looking at wealth. You may be looking at changes in your income. Some of you could get pay rises, but you also could have a hefty expense. Now, that could be for a physical purchase. It could come full circle. You've been working towards it and you've achieved your target. For others, it can be more the creative zone. So it could be you as a superior, you as a manager, you as a leader. This can be subjects to do with power plays with friendships. And if they have been really niggling at you, it could come to a total close. I do see you actually attracting a lot of important individuals in your life, which can be very positive. I would say be careful at the moment with communication styles because there can be some subjects to do with wealth coming up. Some of you, like I said, could have some major purchases or some ideas. And over the next 6 to 12 months, the direction that this Scorpio eclipse takes you will be very unique. I also see, because Pluto is retrograding, you may be really reviewing your wealth. Now, this can be your wages. It could be going into a negotiation, reflecting upon is the status quo adequate? Is the grind worth the buck? If it is your physical asset zone, now this directly could be your accommodation, a home, your net worth, your professional resources. Those individuals from the past could become quite important to you. For some of you, it could be that you decide that you want to go back to a previous place of employment. You may be reviewing your resumes and things to that degree. You also may be looking at homes. Some of you could decide, hey, I need to have repairs done at home. I need to get those things done. That is a possibility. But I definitely see how you utilizing your finances could come into a question mark. Now, it can say that something comes to a head and therefore there is time to recover in that domain. It also could be that you are deciding to take direct action in that area. I will go into this within your career sector, but really if you were wanting to put resumes out, I would do it probably after the eclipse, and you're going to be more eased and rational after that. And then as Mercury goes direct, those opportunities can come back towards you. The next moon that we have is a new moon, and that for you does link to your 5th house. Pregnancies are possible, new chapters with children and romance, new romantic styles, and definitely those blasts from the past could take on a brand new chapter. Whatever it is, I definitely see the things that you're doing in a social setting are going to be actually expanding. Your networking is going to be expanding, your opportunities. Some of you also could be directly romantically linked to a person in a foreign country. So without further ado, let's look at love. Now, those of you that are single, this can be one of those months where we get the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think overall it's good. But yet again, it's trying to navigate the eclipses, seeing what we need to get rid of, working through those situations of values and belief systems. But definitely in joint connections, those of you in commitments, you can be taking on a new chapter. You can be negotiating the terms and really trying to dictate what your dream is and what the goal is. In typical Mercury retrograde style, what you will need to understand is your style of relating to each other and romantic patterns can be a bit cross-wiry. Bear that in mind during this time. There is also a possibility of pregnancy. So, for those of you looking at that, that's great. For those of you really not wanting such, practice good safety in that department. But this could bring a beautiful Venusian style. The only thing I would say is being flexible. People's schedules can become problematic, excuse me, and the frustration can be there, misunderstandings. That's one thing I would say. Trying to do too many things, having pressure points, having everybody's needs in mind, and maybe at a very separate level, you have an element of creativity going on that you're trying to address, and it's putting pressure in this sign. I do feel for those of you single or couple, situations from the past are going to arise. I also feel the confidence to be able to express yourself. You can be really mulling over things, and it's better to actually journal it down, sit with it for a moment, and then address it as it comes up. If we are sweeping those situations metaphorically under the carpet, they can come up and they can rear their ugly head. And with Mars in the House of Cancer, this can cause a lot of passion, sex appeal, chemistry. So singles and couples really have that there. You're going to be very passionate with it. If you feel you're butting heads with this individual, this situation can cause conflict and you can feel either manipulated or dominated. So just bear in mind that it is in its detriment in that position. By the 20th, it can ease in that department, but it also could bring a lot of chemistry to the table. As we do move to mid-month, you can find things are more passionate. There can be changes within relationships. You kind of know what you're looking for. It's a little bit like looking at a menu. You're trying to put a party together and you're saying to yourself, I know what I'm looking for, but there's a missing piece. And by looking at those situations, it actually can benefit it and it can create more stability. Those of you that are directly in relationships, you may find there are situations happening with their tribe on their side of the family. And this could be a myriad of things, but there can be situations playing out on the other side. Some, it can be legacies and inheritances. Others, it's directly looking at the passion within the connection and how to re-navigate it. Even those of you that are single are going to have the subject matter, but what you can find is you will be directly passionate about knowing that you want to have an individual in your life that is working with you and building. I do see this month to be very positive, especially as Jupiter moves. Some of you could go on a holiday. Some of you may actually be negotiating. This could be passports. It could be that you are looking at a person in a foreign culture and trying to get visas and things to that degree done. If you want me to look at your birth chart and to cross-reference between your romantic interests, the information is directly below the box in this podcast, video, etc. And you can come through and I can cover that for you. Overall, I do see this to be very positive, especially where it does come to reworking and moving in a bold new direction. You're definitely going to be social, so keep your calendar open. Career and creativity is looking bold. You may need to be very organized. You may feel that your schedule is being thrown into disarray. I can also say there are opportunities for pay rises and advances, but I do feel it's almost like you're at a T section in the road. And some of you may be saying, okay, is there a creative project I could do as a side hustle? Is there something where I can gain some revenue elsewhere other than what I'm currently doing right now? I especially feel where it does come to wellness, you're going to have to look after it this month in typical Mercury retrograde style. And there may be some overindulgence that does occur this month. So keep an eye on that. Pluto is almost going to make you relook at those circumstances. Is it a pacifier we're dealing with? Is it overconsumption of whatever it is, these situations of a Venusian level can make us overindulge and things can become bigger. I do see particularly you're going to be reworking how you use your confidence and your professional resources. And you may, for some of you, reflect to a past position or a past role or a past dream. This is a time during Pluto retrograde that you're going to be revisiting those circumstances, and you can have a little bit more ease as it's in retrograde. In the initial stage, the first week, there can be some tension. If you were wanting to look for a different position, I would say wait until we pass the eclipse, then place resumes out for networking. I do particularly feel if you are in that lack mentality, move to your professional resources you had before, look to the skill set that you had before, and then step back from the painting and review what you want to do moving forward. I do particularly feel there can be lady luck as we move ahead, but I also see a lot of creativity coming through with you. Overall, if you are organized and structured, I do think that things will go well. If there is conflict happening in the workplace, wait till the 20th to review the case. You may find that this eases up and you're in a better position to make that call. Now, wealth, there can be some big expenses, but these also could be investments. This could be physical loans that you're addressing. It could be the purchase of a big property. You may also have some repairs in the first 2 weeks, so don't be surprised for that. If you are wanting to get rid of assets, I wouldn't say buy vehicles or things to that degree in the first 2 weeks of the month. I'd say wait till after, if possible. But there is a potential of a need to repair. I would make sure that you have your insurances up to date, especially linking to your second house with Pluto. There could be some white goods that you find that you're needing to purchase or you're needing to review. There could be delays in those things coming through. Overall, I also see wealth can come from creative projects. Some of you may be attending birthdays, celebrations, social events where money can be siphoned. I'm just telling you. Separately, you also may find that you are socializing, and so money is going into different areas. I would also say your social calendar is going to be pretty full. So, not only do you have a lot going on, you also have big changes from last month that you're still trying to deal with this. This could have related to home and family. It could have been a physical move. It might have been a purchase of a home. If that has pushed back on the back burner, but a signature of such is coming, as we do move to July, this can come up again. And overall, it is going to be a positive thing, but definitely there are potentials of motherhood or parenting or romantic connections and creative projects coming up to the surface, which overall are going to be quite positive, but it is a solution point that you are looking at. Wellness. Now, Mercury retrograde, yes, especially because your health aspects in your chart directly relate to Mercury. I would say during this time, it's really important to look after your wellness. Pluto also in your second house can come through relating to eating patterns, habits, diet. And also with it being Pluto in nature, I would be careful of use-by dates of meat. Some of you, if you are feeling more on the aggressive side or grumpy, you can find that the red chakra is overactive. So reducing those until it reaches an equilibrium and really getting grounded and maybe utilizing your energy to burn off in a different area. If you're feeling sluggish and unmotivated and quite burnt out, I would say again, emotions can be affecting this. You can have base chakra going on. You also could personally have some situations going on surrounding a mother energy, creativity. So making sure that you're checking, how you're vibing, making sure that if you think something is off, that you do go and get it checked. But eating energy, keep all surfaces clean, check use by dates. especially because of your placements. You can get run down. Doing things that are going to keep your vibration high and being very careful of pacifiers, especially near the new moon. We can go to extremes because Jupiter will be in the house of Taurus. As Mercury goes direct, those things can ease up, but you can find that you're going to gain more success in the health domain if you're aware of the transits and know why these things are cropping up. Great time to journal. If you are doing any meditation or spiritual practices surrounding the moons, I would always try to avoid doing such directly on an eclipse. I would rather see you do such prior, a day, 2 days before, and then give it 2 days and then do such directly after. Great time to clear your homes. Great time to do an audit of your emotions, your internal, your vibration, your routine. Keep flexible with it and you're going to have more fun. As we do get into mid-month, this is where things can shine a lot brighter. So keep positive, rest if you can, and try to breathe through this very big overhaul of our lives. If you do want a private booking and you want to know how your star sign is impacted directly by your birth chart, which has its own individual signature, very separate to the collective, come through. The information is directly below. Otherwise, I will see you for next month's update. Take care, beautifuls.